Well, I'm already back with a video with something else broken, so might as well get into it. All right, boys and girls, we have hit the time. Sadly, the transmission is at the point to where it's even hard to get into gear. Now for this, it's gonna kind of be great, but it's gonna kind of suck because I really did not plan on laying under the, underneath this car on the ground, and that's in my way. But I might as well do it before the weather gets too cold because I just really don't want to do it in the cold. Now, I know a lot of people wait for winter and things like that, and generally I do. But since I have so many, new cool things, like a new big toolbox and stuff here in the garage, I don't really have much room side to side to play with. So I'm going to pull this thing out and do it in the driveway and rebuild the transmission here in the garage. The transmission has finally decided to just say, I'm tired of working for you. And just like now, another big indication. Right now it'll go into first and second, third, fourth, cool, fifth. Now, reverse, it won't even think about it. Now, first it won't. So, yeah, and that's even with the car not running. So what I have to do is I gotta sit there and roll the car just to kind of line up the teeth for the blocker rings, the synchros and stuff, just to get it in that gear to move it. So I had really been limping this thing to where I would be driving and I would downshift while the car was rolling to kind of line those teeth up so it would go into that gear. Especially going into first kind of sucked. But even a few times going from first gear to second gear, it would not want to go into second. Now, when it was cold, it would be a lot worse. But even with it warmed up, it's now at the point to where it's just locking me in and out of gears. So I did get it to go in first, clutched in, but still no reverse. So this is what I was talking about. I have to go forward a little bit, and then kind of, there it goes. Now get it to unlock. Now, since I did build this transmission with two broken ones, we all knew it was under, basically it was at its limit. It was gonna, only last for so long. So what I did with the other broken transmission was I went ahead and started building those parts basically for this rebuild. So while I'm not gonna go do a full-on build like I had planned, because I still am missing a couple of parts, especially like the billet selector keys, or not keys, but they're selector plates for a set of billet shift forks. So I don't want to sit there and throw all that in there and then the selector plates break. And I really wanted to throw the 26 spline input shaft in here, but it's still not here yet. And this car, I'm tired of waiting. I only have weather for so long. So I have two great 10 spline input shafts, and I'm just gonna use them. Why not? Plus the clutch itself is still only got like 1,500, 2,000 miles on it. Now, one of the first parts I did was I took the other bell housing. Now, one bell housing had a replaceable throwout bearing tube. The other one did not. So this one did have it where it was replaceable. So I knocked it out and I bought a billet throwout bearing tube right there. So that way, this isn't going to gall up. The other one that's in the car has a ridge right here that probably doesn't help all this either. The other main shaft. Now, what originally started all this was I had a main shaft that had a broken second gear, had teeth missing on it. So I bought a brand new, new off the shelf, new old stock second gear. So went ahead and threw that in there. It'd be first, second, third, and then off of here would be your 1-to-1, your fourth gear. So when I did all that, I put brand new synchros in here, carbon fiber synchros. So these right here are going to be a really nice upgrade. I also have the brass keys for the shift forks. That'll help. All new bearings, all the good stuff to rebuild this transmission. Now, one other thing as well, before I tear into it, is I tried to basically find all the knowledge I could on what fluid to use. Now, I know they say Dex Merc, you know, and Dex 3 and stuff for the outer trans, but that's with the old blocker rings and the old synchros. So with these being carbon fiber, not a paper element, actually a lot of people recommend the synchro mesh from Pennzoil. So that's what I'm going to go with, especially with the carbon fiber. So we're going to get this thing on jack stands, get the drive shaft out, drain the old fluid, which is really new fluid, lasts about 2 weeks, and then start getting this transmission out of here. So I'm going to work on getting this transmission out, and then once I start tearing it down, I don't know if it'd be today, tomorrow, whenever, then I'll get you a video of how it looks. All right, so here we are a couple hours later, and I can't lie, that sucked. We did get the trans out, and the car's up on the stands. It'll probably be this way for a few days until I get this thing built and then throw them back in. All right, so I got the trans out, and I knew this thing was pretty bad off, but I didn't know it was like this bad off. If you look down in here, that's chunks of metal. Right here, look down in there. Just chunks of metal. All that. Just metal sitting in the fork areas, or on the shift selector in the detent ball area. So we're gonna get this thing apart. Knock this roll pin out, get this tail shaft off. Start there. All right, so we got the back end off. All that stuff tore apart. Try to put it in order, obviously. And here is our 5th reverse synchro. As you can see there, that thing's done. That thing's toast. So yep, junker number 1. Can't wait to see the rest. Yeah, you can kind of see in there, all these synchros are pretty well chewed up. Not much stopping anything. There's a lot of room, a lot of play in there. Where this other set is, there's nothing. Like, there's no play in there. Lockers are good, everything. And we also installed the brass bushing on the shift forks. We are going to keep just the stock shift forks in there. I do have a spare 3/4. Just in case, or sorry, 3/4 just in case it's needed. Actually, I have spare 1/2 as well. All right, so press new bearings on the shafts and stuff. And when you do that, since I'm changing the bell housing, because I'm using this one here, like I mentioned earlier, it's got the billet throwout bearing sleeve. I changed new bearings, and when I did that, I put new races in, pressed everything in, but when you do that, make sure you get all of the shims out from underneath of these bearings. Like this right here was a smaller shim. Well, when I used that smaller shim that was in this bell housing, I had some slop right here in this shaft. So right now this is just laying here. There's no lateral play. That noise right there is literally just the bell housing. But it's nice, free spin, sounds good. No major anything. Now, to set up the main shaft same way. Now, here's our nice new carbon fiber synchros. All right, so, got the gear set back in, cluster gears in, all new bearings pressed. The bushings are in. I did use the old forks. They look really good still. Got the shift reverse selector piece in there. So, we're about to start buttoning it up. Now that I have a mess everywhere, the back end of the transmission's all back together. Pins in. New synchros in. Brass guides, once again. So, should be a lot better. Also, all new bearings throughout. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the tail shaft housing back on there. Get that all buttoned up, and then we're gonna start working on the bell housing side. It's not permanently mounted or RTV'd yet because we might have to add some shims in there for the input shaft. just make sure it doesn't have too much play. So we got it back together, it goes in all the gears. We do have a slight amount of play here. Well, if I can hold it still. Here. Which does not seem to be excessive, so I don't think I'm gonna shim this, but there's no in and out whatsoever. So that's a good thing. Now that it all works, we went through the gears, look back in here and make sure everything's all kosher. Everything still looks really good. We're gonna go ahead and button up the case, and we'll call this one done. We'll probably clean up this right here with a little bit of emery cloth or something, but other than that, I think this thing is gonna do fine in the Mustang. All right, the front bell housing's on. We got the billet throttle bearing sleeve. Got the shift fork back in. Now, put some Molly lube on there, some good grease, and she seems good to go. That slack I was talking about earlier is darn near gone now, since the bell housing's been completely tightened down. So I'd say we'll be good to go. Now it's time to throw her back in. All right, so maybe this is a good sign. This is the first time I've ever stabbed a transmission and it was lined right up. Like, it went right in. Even the input shaft lined up perfectly with the clutch disc, which I don't know if that's good, kind of scary. Maybe things are going too smooth. I hope not. Let's not jinx it, but we should be back on the road here very shortly. All right, so it's dark. I'm a mess. Everything's a mess, but I drove the car. So it does shift a lot better. It's still a little finicky getting into first, second gear, but I think that might be some clutch adjustment, which I'm going to work on. But it has reverse now, and it doesn't lock me in it, and it has fifth gear. So holy cow, that's a huge improvement alone. So now if I can just get rid of the little bit of notchiness and stuff in there, I think it's going to be like butter. So we'll go ahead and take a test drive and then... I'm beat, so sounds like it's time for me to take a good week-long nap and recoup and maybe take some ibuprofen, because I'm going to be sore tomorrow. So don't forget to like and subscribe, guys, and we'll see you in the next one. Hopefully it's not something broke. Maybe it's something that we, accomplished other than breaking something. See ya.